Hey there, we're always told that a growing economy means a better country, right? But is that really true? Today, we're diving into the huge difference between a nation's growth and its development. Now, they might sound like the same thing, but I promise you, understanding this distinction is going to change how you see the world.
Just think about it for a second. Is a richer country, one with more money, automatically a better country to live in? We are constantly bombarded with headlines about GDP and economic growth. But do those massive numbers actually tell us the whole story about whether people are living happy, healthy lives? Let's unpack that.
All right, first things first, let's get these two core ideas straight. Growth versus development. Getting this right is absolutely the key to seeing past the flashy headlines and understanding what is really, truly going on.
So, let's start with human growth. You can think of this as the economics of more. This is the side of progress we probably hear about the most, in the news and from politicians.
Growth is all about quantity. It's the stuff you can count, the things you can put on a chart. We're talking about a rising GDP. That's the total value of everything a country makes. We're talking about more miles of highway, bigger buildings, a larger population. It's a measure of how much stuff a country has. It's tangible for sure, but it doesn't tell you a single thing about how all that wealth and size is actually affecting people's lives.
Okay, but then there's the other side of the coin, human development. And this isn't about how much a country has, it's about how well its people are living. This is where we shift our focus from numbers to the quality of life itself.
See, development asks a totally different set of questions. Things like, are people healthy? Are they living longer? Can they get a good education? Do they have the freedom, the real opportunity to build a life they value? It's all about expanding human potential, not just expanding the national bank account.
So here it is, side by side. It makes it so clear. Growth is quantitative. It's all about how much. It's focused on just piling up wealth and size. Development, on the other hand, is qualitative. It asks how well and focuses on the actual human experience. And here's the really crucial part. You can have a ton of one without the other.
Really? It all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. Growth is quantity, development is quality. If you remember nothing else, remember that. It's the core distinction that really changes the whole conversation about a country's progress.
So why does this matter so much? What's the big deal? Well, because when a country focuses only on growth, more doesn't always mean better. In fact, that narrow focus can be downright dangerous.
Just picture how this plays out. A society decides to chase economic growth and nothing else. But that new money, it doesn't always trickle down, does it? A lot of the time it gets concentrated right at the very top. So that gap between the rich and the poor gets wider and wider, which fuels inequality and a lot of frustration. And eventually, that can bubble over into social unrest. A rising GDP means almost nothing if most of the people feel like they've been completely left behind.
And that is exactly why focusing on development is so vital. It offers a much more complete, a much more sustainable path to creating a society that actually thrives for everybody, not just a handful of people. And just look at the results. I mean, they really speak for themselves. When you focus on improving people's lives directly, you empower them. And that empowerment naturally leads to more sustainable, more peaceful societies. Because you've baked things like justice and inclusive progress right into the system. You're lifting everyone up together.
If you want a fantastic real-world example, just look at the Scandinavian countries. They're famous for this. They prioritize development by investing huge amounts in things like universal healthcare and free education for everyone. They work on a pretty simple principle. A healthy, educated population, well, that's the real foundation of a strong country.
So as we start to bring this all together, it becomes pretty obvious that we need to think differently about what progress actually means. It's got to be about more than just the numbers on some economic report.
So here's the bottom line. Economic growth is necessary. Of course it is. A country needs resources to function. But growth isn't the goal itself. It's just a tool. The real measure of success, the true end game, has to be the well-being and the development of its people. So I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you hear a politician or a news anchor talking about national progress, just stop and ask yourself, are we just counting the money here? Or are we counting the things that actually make life worthwhile? Thanks for tuning in.